Welcome everyone to 1 Million Cups St. Paul. I'm Andy Philo. I'm one of the organizers along with Paul Lampland, Lee George, and Ian and Jade who aren't here right now. 1 Million Cups is an event that happens in 70 plus cities across the country on a weekly basis every Wednesday morning. The intent is to give startups, entrepreneurs 6 minutes to present their idea or their company to an community of other entrepreneurs or people in that vein. They have 6 minutes to present. Then the community has 20 minutes to provide feedback, ask questions, whatever it is they can provide to help the presenter get to the next level. With that, we'll start. We have Alex here from Nudl.
Good morning. Good morning. Hi. Hello. My name is Alex. I'm a senior econ major at McAllister College, and I'm one of the co-founders of Nudl. And at Nudl, we're bringing communal meals to the 21st century. So Nudl came out of an experience that I had a couple summers ago where I was visiting a friend, and I decided to organize the trip through a service called BlaBlaCar. And I signed up for it's a ride-sharing service where I hopped into a car with a driver and 3 random strangers. And we all happened to be going to the same city 2 hours away. And what was so cool about this experience is that we had just a really great conversation. We talked about topics as mundane as our shared distaste of the German weather to, I don't know, the export of Mercedes-Benz on the black market to Senegal. Just really bizarre things. And this experience showed me the value of interacting with strangers and the stories that they told and the stories that I could tell. That's why Nudl created MealShare. MealShare is creating a similar social experience for students of different backgrounds, of different years, and of different majors at McAllister College. We're bringing students together around a dinner table who want a quick, affordable, and nutritious meal, and providing an opportunity to cook for hosts who want to cook meals. It's pretty organic when this happens. We put 6 students around a table, and a conversation flows. It's really fantastic. Nudl's role is to advertise the meal share to the community. So we post a calendar every week showing the meal shares that are going on in our community. We handle communication and payment, and we process feedback to improve the experience overall. For the past 8 weeks, we've been running a pilot program of this at McAllister. We've had 49 meal shares and served over 320 students. What we're taking from this is that students value the social atmosphere just as much as I do. They've rated it 4.8 out of 5 on average. The business model behind Nudl is simple. We charge hosts 50 cents per guest who shows up at a meal share. Meal shares are priced between $2 and $6, and the average meal share price has been $4.40. What's great about this is that students have said that they've been willing to pay $1 more than this on average for their meal share. Think of that dollar as not only the social experience, but also a confirmation that students can cook. We're really excited about Nudl's future. We've got 8 members of our team right now. I'm Alex Stengel. My co-founder is Caitlin Toner. About a month and a half ago, we added Alex Klopp and Emma Fody, who are business or data analysts and social media people, respectively. And then just 2 weeks ago, we added Pradyut Bansal, Sam Olsen, Ivan Baki, and Guillermo Vera, who are designing a web platform that will allow us to scale MealShare, handle payment online, and improve the feedback loop between hosts and guests. You can reach me, Alex, at nudl.co with any questions, visit our website, nudl.co, or visit our Facebook page, /NudlMcAllister. Well, a lot of the topics that we're running into have to do with our business model. So our business model is really tailored to be simple at the moment. It's really easy for us to collect 50 cents from a student. You know, it's not some random 10% of $7 or something like that. We collect these 50 cents, but also our business model is a little bit, the timeline is a little bit short term, right? So you can attend a meal share without making any sort of commitment to the community for the future. So I think something that we're looking for is a business model that'll really encourage community building. And something that we're considering on that front is taking a portion of what Nudl collects and reinvesting it in the community in shared pots and pans or waffle irons, things like that. Another thing we have to keep in mind is the regulation of sharing home-cooked meals out of a home, and potentially we can develop a business model that doesn't get us in trouble. Also, what we're running into right now, we're having about 8 to 10 meal shares every week, is we want to kind of thicken the market in McAllister. And one way we've thought about doing that is providing resources for students to learn to cook through us, essentially, so that we have a thicker market with more sellers, and also, you know, sharing the experience on social media to have more buyers. But those are kind of 3 topics I'd love, if you guys have any questions about or suggestions about, please let me know, and anything else that's interesting. I'm Alex again, and we are Nudl.
Hey, Alex,
Yeah.
your host are just homes with it around McAllister.
Right. So, McAllister, the first 2 years of McAllister, you have to live on campus. When you're upperclassmen,
Alex, sorry, can you use the microphone?
Yeah, totally. After your second year, you're allowed to live off campus. So about 700 students live off campus. And these people can host meals out of their homes. We also have a couple kitchens on campus where students could cook, who live in the dorms. Yep.
Could you speak to, well, I would think in a business like this, it would be important to be able to trace back to an actual person. Could you speak to how you authenticate users into Nudl?
Sure. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Frenzy. It was kind of a trendy app a couple years ago, but essentially we'd use our at mcallister.edu logins to ensure that we have this closed community that we can trust. You know, McAllister students trust each other, and that provides a level of safety beyond just the open market. Yeah. Sure. I think that's a great idea, and that's exactly the kind of thing that we're trying to do. You know, we want to encourage interaction between the schools. You know, we kind of have our stereotypes and our generalizations. But what we're trying to do before that, actually, is look at McAllister's alumni network and connect students with McAllister alumni living specifically within, 2 miles, 3 miles of campus, and see if we can use Mealshare as a networking opportunity for students and as a way for alumni to get a better impression of what's going on campus. Because we're busy and we don't have cars and it gets cold in the winter. Yeah, totally. Yep. So we have our Facebook page, and that's really been the center of everything. On every Thursday, we send out an email and a Facebook post asking if hosts would like to sign up for the following week. On Sunday, by Sunday, we've crafted a calendar with 8 to 10 meal shares, and we post that again on social media, through email, and we actually canvass in person in front of our campus center. And we fill up, pretty much all of our meals have been completely full. But as we move towards the online platform, we hope that, push notifications about a new calendar being released or something like that will draw people to our network. Sure. Yeah, so we're not the first people to think of meal sharing. There have been, there's Visit, Feastly, There's a handful of others. And they handle this with a terms of service that excludes them from any sort of liability. And they have, what we're doing at least, is having very clearly demarcated meals. You know, this is a vegan meal. This meal has dairy. This meal has meat, etc., shellfish, whatever. And we hope that once we establish an LLC, we will also purchase insurance to make sure that we are covered to a certain amount.
Alex, can you explore your business plan a little bit more? Like, what are your specific metrics, like in the next 6 months or 12 months, in terms of expansion and like when you're going to be making money to pay for your business, things like that?
Sure. Right now, we don't make a lot of money. My dream for McAllister, at least, is that you have 6 meal shares, or 4 to 6 meal shares every weeknight at McAllister. So you can walk across campus, open our app, decide that you don't want to go to our cafeteria, decide that you don't want to pay $9 for a restaurant, and you can go to a meal in your community. So that's part of it. We're not going to get a significant amount of revenue for me to pay my wages off of meal share at McAllister. Like you said, I think we have to expand at a certain point, or we have to explore other options of revenue. Yeah.
Just a follow-up, is 4 to 6 meals a night across McAllister enough to sustain what you want to accomplish with Nudl?
It depends. It depends on where my time horizon is with this. And I'm fully committed to this idea right now. But if it's something that, you know, we can't gain traction at St. Thomas, or we can't gain traction in the alumni network, I think it's something that I'd like to pass on to, you know, a junior or a sophomore who would continue meal share at McAllister. Yeah.
What do you guys do for retention? So if 4 guys around me and we all go to the Lee's house, we're meet up essentially, and we all love Lee's cooking. And then the next week we're like, we don't go.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, and that's definitely something that we've run into at McAllister already. But we provide a very unique experience, right? You're put at a table with 5 people who you don't know are going to be there an hour beforehand. You will know when you receive the invitation with the details of who is attending, but it's really kind of, you're thrown into this unique situation that you can't find anywhere else except for maybe BlaBlaCar, you know, or in the first 2 weeks of college. And that's what's really exciting. I think that pushes me out of my comfort zone, and ultimately it leads to more interesting conversations. Yeah. So as of right now, everything runs through cash. At the event, there's usually a jar of some sort, or hosts will ask, hey, can you guys pay me? And they're instructed to do so at the beginning of the meal. So the hosts receive that payment, and then either I go around to all of the hosts that week, or one of my teammates goes around, or we collect it through Venmo, and they send us the, you know, $2.50 for 5 guests. Yep. A 100%. We're working on putting policy in place that is very clear about what to do if a group of people get sick. That is something that we have to do, and we have to do it soon, because we're not going to expand meal share beyond what we're doing right now unless we have policy in place, because I do not want to be liable. It will happen one day that someone will get sick from something at a meal share, 100%. And we need to reduce any sort of effects that come out of that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I guess, to the food safety point, it's probably crucial that you, get on forming a corporation or an LLC to protect you and your co-founders from liability as soon as possible.
Yeah. I totally agree. Yeah. So, in terms of McAllister, we're competing directly with their cafeteria, right? And that might pose to be an issue of some sort later down the road. But I want to talk to the president, and we're talking with the new entrepreneur in residence, Kate Riling, this week, and we're going to make sure that we're on the same page with them about that. Yeah. Yeah, so they obviously know that we exist. President Brian Rosenberg has been a huge advocate of entrepreneurship, and I don't know, we were one of the good ones to come out of that, so. Yeah. Sure. We don't want to be too overbearing. I think that's a really interesting idea, and it's definitely come up in my head if we should do that. Honestly, in my experiences at meal shares, it hasn't been a huge problem. It might actually be a bigger problem when I'm sitting with my friends that I know very well around a dinner table. Yeah. And your second question? So they are free to profit if they want to. We want to, adequately reimburse them for grocery shopping and for cooking. So they should cover their grocery costs. They should be, smart enough to budget that. But, if they make $5 off of cooking for 45 minutes, that's totally fine with me. They set the price. Yes, they do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, we're really trying to do something different here. We're really trying to pull the spectrum of what we're eating as well. I'm super passionate about food. I cook almost every day, and I really believe that we need to move away from processed foods and from restaurant foods as well. So this is really the only way that I see of doing that. Yeah, in the back. We have that, for sure.
So somebody, you know, and really encourage that from the people who already come, right? So say, hey, do you want to learn? Is this the issue? So they could, you know, again, that gives that second layer.
It's definitely another layer of complexity as well, and that's really why we've gone with this hosting model where, you know, everyone says, oh, it's a meal for or an app for potlucking, and that's really not what it is. It's a meal for one person to cook, or, you know, 2 or 3 friends to cook together. But once you start adding, you know, a sous chef to the kitchen, and you have to organize them to make sure that they're on time and that they bring any ingredients and stuff, it's way more complicated. But as we get smarter, I think we can work towards something like that. Yeah. Yep. Yep. So we haven't had a huge, all right, so your first question is about a centralized location on campus. And, you know, that goes along with the pots and pans and waffle iron. I envision there being a centralized space where you can cook together. In the short term, that's going to be more difficult because I don't think that Bon Appetit would let us into their commercial kitchen. 100%. So I don't know, if you want to take this idea out a few years, maybe we can build a kitchen on McAllister's campus or something like that. With respect to your second question, which was, sorry, remind me again. Oh, the football players. We haven't had a huge problem with that. We really haven't. As long as our hosts cook enough rice and pasta, you know, make sure that there's enough carbs on the table, it's not a huge problem. But it's something we'll consider for sure.
We have time for just one more question.
Yeah. Either one of you. Who yeah, go for it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, we have feedback data right now, and we're getting feedback data really actively. You know, I think over 60, 70% of our guests respond, and they give us feedback on how the host cooking was. But that information actually doesn't make it back to the host at this point, because that's too much of a cycle. But once we have data, we'll be implementing that. And what's important at that point is that we don't offend anybody. Because if they see, you know, you cooked a 3-star meal, why would you ever come back and host for Nudl again? And we have to provide the resources then to show them what they did wrong, but also not, you know, nail them with a 3-star rating or 2-star rating on our platform. I'm thinking something like a gamified version of this, where if you know, host a 5-star meal 10 times, you get an excellent badge or something like that, you know, where we promote great cooking and we don't necessarily share the bad cooking, but we make sure that we can give them the tools to improve themselves. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
And,
Yeah.
sorry, the last question
Yeah.
we always ask is, after this conversation, what can this community do for you?
Yeah, I guess if anybody knows someone specifically who has experience with the liability issue, whether that's who's worked in the food industry or has some sort of knowledge of what the laws are there, that would be fantastic if you could get in touch with me. Again, there's my email, or you can talk to me after the event. But yeah, that's pretty much the biggest one. Thank you. Yeah.